reminds me of my childhood and all of the nights that I spent playing basketball with my dad. You might find someone who says, wow, that basketball looks a lot like the reason my husband ignores me. Because he can't take his eyes off that basketball game. Now, the only difference in responses come from our personal experiences and how they shape what one simple object means. In the words of author Penelope Fitzgerald, she said, "No two people see the external world in exactly the same way. To every separate person, a thing is how he sees it." In other words, your own perception is your own reality. Now, most of us don't have a negative view of a basketball. A basketball really is just a basketball. But think about it. How do our perceptions shape other parts of our life? What about relationships? Do you view relationships through a positive or a negative lens? I once heard a story of a woman talking about date night with her husband. And she said to her colleagues, "It was amazing. He came home from work and took me out to the most romantic dinner. After dinner, we went through an hour-long stroll in the moonlight. We got home, and I noticed he had placed candles throughout the entire house just for me. And the best part, we crawled into bed and talked for 2 hours until we slowly drifted to sleep. And the best part, we crawled into bed and talked for 2 hours until we slowly drifted to sleep." Now, her husband was also talking about date night with his colleagues. He said, "It was awful. Our electricity went out, so we had to go out for dinner. The dinner was so expensive, I couldn't afford a cab home, so we had to walk. Because we didn't have electricity, we were forced to see everything through candlelight. And the worst part, we crawled into bed and I couldn't sleep because my wife was jabbering in my ear for 2 hours." Your own perception is your own reality. The way you see the world attracts what reinforces that view. Now, this is a little bit wordy, so I'll say it again. The way you see the world attracts what reinforces that view. If you view certain situations through a negative lens, that's okay. The beauty in all of this is your perception has the ability to be changed, and you can change your reality. Start by taking control of your mind. Make a conscious effort to see the beauty in the world, and you will attract what reinforces beauty. Be aware of patterns and how you react to certain situations, but most importantly, use yourself as a breeding ground for positivity. And I promise you, you will watch your life change right before your eyes. Now, I'm not somebody up here telling you, I want you to see rainbows and butterflies every time you look at a basketball. But there are times in our lives where we will have negative experiences with something, and we need to change how we perceive it. I encourage everyone to look at the world as a place full of miracles. And if you like John Bon Jovi, you will appreciate one of my favorite quotes pertaining to this. Miracles happen every day. Change your perception of what a miracle is, and you will see them all around you. Mr. Toastmaster.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests, and especially you, Mackenzie. When I saw you walk on stage with that basketball, my eyes became as round as saucers and a grin split my face because this song came into my head. I wanna be like Mike if I could be like Mike. That was the hook from one of my favorite commercials in the early 90s, a Gatorade commercial that featured Michael Jordan, my favorite basketball player of all time. Right from the start, you had me hooked. And as I looked around the audience, I saw that you had them hooked as well. Their curiosity was piqued. How did you intend to use this visual aid to support your speech? You kept their interest by asking us questions that got us thinking about your topic. How our perceptions shape our life. The topic was appropriate. It was inspirational, and you reinforced that theme throughout your speech. You used an advanced technique, a persuasive technique found in Speech 9 of the Competent Communication Manual. It involves comparing and contrasting. When you shared the story of the husband and wife and how they perceived the night, on one hand, you told us what the wife saw, and on the other hand, you told us what the husband saw and felt. Your humor was appropriately spaced throughout the speech so that the audience was continually engaged. Anytime you encounter an experienced speaker as yourself, as an evaluator, it becomes difficult to provide meaningful, actionable feedback. But I have some for you. You provided a story that was wonderfully told. You built up some conflict. You built up some more conflict. And then, splash. You provided us with the resolution. Take control of how you perceive the world. Change your perception. I want you to consider sharing a personal story that you have of using that resolution in your life. Allow the audience to visualize what that looks like. Become a little more vulnerable with us, and you'll grow more. You used colorful language throughout your speech, and the grammarian in me loved it. Rainbows, butterflies, jabbering away in my ear. Your research was evident with the number of quotes that you used throughout your speech. As I heard you, you were confident. Your vocal variety was appropriate. You varied your pitch and tone throughout your story. As I saw you, your eye contact again was appropriate, and you worked the stage. As I felt you, I was inspired to consider taking control of my perceptions and changing my view on life. Mr. Toastmaster.
My name is Harold Osmondson, Program Quality Director for District 6 Toastmasters, and I'm here with Vaughn Ginnette, first place finisher of the District 6 Evaluation Contest in 2017. Vaughn, congratulations. Well done on your contest and your performance tonight. Tell us, which club are you from? Which club are you representing?
Thank you, Harold. Tonight I'm representing Anoka Toastmasters Club number 2748.
Excellent. You gave an excellent evaluation, and I mean, it was very thorough, it was very helpful, it was positive, and also included the constructive elements as well. I would love to know, in analyzing the speech, kind of your process for giving a good, helpful evaluation. I think there's much to learn from your process, and you gave a great example tonight. So how do you approach an evaluation?
Thank you for asking. I always approach every evaluation with a competent communicator framework in mind. I use the 10 first speech projects to evaluate things like the icebreaker, vocal variety, using visual aids. The second thing I look for are specific, helpful comments that will benefit both the speaker and the audience as well. You have to remember, when you're giving an evaluation, you're not just doing it for the benefit of the speaker, but you're doing it for the benefit of the fellow Toastmasters in the audience as well.
Excellent. Oh, And if you could give any recommendation, I think you just did, for someone that wants to become a better evaluator, what would you say? Where would they start?
I think I learned the most by watching the evaluation contest from 2 years ago. I went to about 8 different evaluation contests and heard many different evaluations and picked the things I like and left the rest.
Well, thank you very much, Vaughn. And this is Harold Osmondson signing off.